This is a special report on a family. It doesn't say how this individual died. Um, I feel like that he probably died on duty, but I don't know that for a fact. But you know, this should be something that should be mandatory for all principalities to burden part of the blow whenever it comes to one of their officers illegitimately either dying or being killed, especially while in the in the uh, uh, in the magistrate of that in which what they are serving. And this should be the same way pertaining to FBI, United States Marshals, or other people that reluctantly go through what they go through, that puts such of a burden upon to the families, as well as our military people that are called upon to go do a certain particular task for their family, and then all of a sudden something happens to that military soldier or person that was willing to play out their patriotic duties for their family. Please watch.
Before we go, a story about love and honoring those we love. In Tennessee, 5-year-old Anna Stolinsky received a big surprise when officers from the town's police department escorted her to her first day at kindergarten. It was a tribute to Anna's father, Kevin, the lieutenant on the force who died last November. 5-year-old Anna Stolinsky has a smile that lights up any room. Her mom, Casey, says the brave little girl brings joy wherever she goes.
She loves the spotlight.
So when officers from the Laverne, Tennessee Police Department took her to the first day of kindergarten last month, for Anna, it was another great adventure.
When all the officers showed up, I was like,
You're doing great, sweetie. Their surprise, a tribute to Anna's dad, Kevin, a lieutenant on the force, who died last November. Stepping in to support the family on Anna's big day, dozens of officers and other first responders from all over Tennessee. There they are, lined up outside Anna's new school, greeting her one at a time with hugs, high fives, and words of encouragement. How many officers were out there waiting for you?
a Jillian.
The gesture meant the world to Anna's mom, Casey.
Kevin and I were married for 15 years. He cared for his community. He wanted to help.
Sergeant Eric Statz worked alongside Kevin. Tell me about why you felt it was so important for you and so many others to be there.
Kevin was very crucial in organizing and helping put on events like this to help support fallen officers and their families in crucial parts of their lives, like prom, weddings, graduations, or first days of school like Anna.
That community of officers now honoring his memory with a vow to always help Casey and Anna.
I call them now my guys. I can call any one of my guys anytime.
Their dedication, a mission guided by a deep sense of brotherhood. Sergeant, there's a bigger message here, isn't there?
When one of us hurt, we all hurt, but we're also there for each other. And the good times end of that. We're a family that cares deeply for each other.
And that wraps up the hour for me. I'm Jose Diaz.
And rightfully so, because, you know, you're talking about a brotherlyhood of people that stick their necks out for the general public, and to see something like that is very, very moving and compassionate, because you realize that there are other people out there that care about other people, especially those that are in solidarity of serving the people. And it was just a very, very moving, I thought, touching human story pertaining to how that police department, for whatever reason, I don't know why he died. I don't know if he was on duty. It didn't really explain it. I don't even remember the county or the town. I'd have to look it up to find it. But I just thought that that was so moving in the fact towards what is occurring. Go from something extremely good to something extremely bad pertaining to all the illegal immigrants that's coming over and invading our basically
people
invading our supplies here in America. That's basically taking our resources and straining them to the end. By allowing for this many people to come over here, I think it should be evaluated. There's no doubt that people that want to come over here seeking asylum, that want to come over here to better their lives, there's nothing wrong with that program, and there still isn't nothing wrong with that program. But for people to want to come over here because their own country has fallen apart, because you basically got countries right now that is actually imploded. I mean, imploded. You take this one country right here, pertaining to Puerto Rico. I had a good friend down in Florida that I worked with in Jack Wilson Chevrolet Garage there in St. Augustine, Florida, that was one of the most talented body men and could get along, I guess, with just about anybody. Always kept his hair trimmed, always kept himself nice and looking. Took a lot of pride in his work. He was very professional in what he done. He was always dependable. And he was willing to help you out in any way. If you was working beside of him and all of a sudden you had a problem and you had to hold something, or two people had to do this or two people had to do that, he was always dependable there. And you know, to see these poor people's lives get hit again by this particular torrential deluge that just basically, some say that it is actually worse than the other hurricane. These people are going to have to properly prepare for these things, either in the form of building stronger facilities, if they're going to stay there, or building stronger poles or stronger lines where they won't get torn down, or have other emergency resources if they're going to stay there on these islands like this. Because there's no doubt, the way that the weather patterns have become so abrupt, you can just about count on, from one season to another, that something extremely bad is going to happen to one or two or several of the islands down there where these things build. And it's not just there, but if you go to the other side of the world pertaining to the major typhoons that hit in other areas, I mean, these storms has intensified. They have intensified in strength. They have intensified towards the velocity and how quickly that they come together. You know, we used to call storms a 100-year storm, a 500-year storm, a 1,000-year storm. Well, now these storms are coming back to back. Back to back. So something obviously has and is happening to our upper levels of our environment.
People are still stranded across the island. Rescue teams are trying to get to them. They're having a tough time. So far, they've rescued about 1,000 folks so far. Look at this. You're looking at video of one of those rescues now. But you have floods, landslides, what the governor there calls catastrophic destruction, making it hard to get to everyone. FEMA, National Guard troops, even first responders from New York and New Jersey are rushing to get there and help. I want to bring in NBC's George Solis, who is with us now live from Puerto Rico. And George, the governor is making clear today, this is still very much emergency mode for them.
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. The threat far from over right now. The island is no longer under the hurricane warning, but as you'll see here in a second with this roll of thunder, the danger is still very imminent here because we're still under that tropical storm force rain and wind here across the island. The destruction, it is untold. And the big story here on the island, this is deja vu for so many people that have already been through this with Maria. The power is out for 1 million people, basically, and only about 10% right now have power. They are with
Only 10%.
Yeah, the power is out for 1 million people basically, and only about 10% right now have power. They are waiting to see when that power will be restored. Officials saying, yes, look, we know that the power is out for you, but this is not going to be like Hurricane Maria. We are expecting to restore the grid here in the next couple of days, maybe weeks in certain municipalities. But the danger here, of course, with the rain, it is already saturated here, and it continues to fall across parts of the island. With Maria, the rain really isolated to certain parts. Here they're saying that they're seeing rain on levels that may actually exceed Hurricane Maria, which is Here they're saying that they're seeing rain on levels that may actually exceed,
Rita. I mean, unbelievable amounts of moisture that's coming out of these systems towards the atmosphere being hotter and you know, holding more moisture, and then whenever it does release it, oh my God, it's just unbelievable. You know, and this backs up that in which what Jesus had tried to warn or give out advisories towards. He said that whenever you shall see these things starting to occur, to flee into the mountains. That if you be up on top of a house, do not return. If you be on top in a field, do not return. That flee into the mountains whenever you shall see these things, because Christ could actually foresee where we are today then, pertaining to what was going to happen in regards towards environmental irregularities that was going to cause devastation into people's lives. These are part of the woes, and these are also part of the sorrows that the Bible is talking about, trying to properly prepare people for these type of events. And it's really, really sad, because these people continue to keep getting hammered again and again and again, and it's like, okay, we realize what's going on here, but you're going to have to make some better preparations towards either stronger lines, or maybe put in some better drainage pertaining to the water, or you're going to have to build your house. I mean, look at that house right there. You're talking about a shotgun shanty house that basically those people that live there is probably the best that they can do. That's like all the homes that was destroyed over in Pakistan was nothing more than shacks. But these are where people live. This is how they survive. And of course, any type of harsh weather that hits something like that, it's basically defenseless. It's gonna blow it to pieces. And it's remarkable that right there is still standing. I can see all the stuff on top of it where it's ripped and torn. Looks like other pieces of something that's been torn off there. But I mean, people are going to have to awaken of the fact that it's not a matter of if these storms are going to hit again, but when they hit again, how properly prepared are we out here living on an island out here? And there's thousands of them down there. Some of them ain't big enough basically for maybe 100 people to live on, but these people are going to have to awaken in the problems that have now developed because of global warming, because of these environmental changes that are going to become closer together and even more severe. They're going to have to be more properly prepared, or they're going to have to move, one or the other.
In Maria, which is really hard to fathom when you think about it. So right now officials are coping with trying to get out to responding not only to the water issue, but also the power, and of course continuing with those rescues. Talk to some people who have been here experiencing this hurricane that they thought would just be a tropical storm blowing through this island. Take a listen to what they said about the preparations.
They seemed to know what they needed. They went straight for the water. They went straight for the types of food that would work well, that you could eat without having to cook it or refrigerate it. It was almost tactical.
Yeah, Hallie, the people of Puerto Rico so resilient. You have to wonder how much more they can take, considering they have already been through so much. Hallie?
George Solis, thank you for being on the ground for us there. We're going to look for more of your reporting throughout this afternoon and, of course, in the days to come. Appreciate it. Coming up, President Biden saying something not even the CDC has yet, that the COVID pandemic is over. So is it really? Plus, a crowd's response to a song played at Donald Trump's rally, raising new questions about whether the former president is embracing QAnon now more than ever before. But first, we're following some breaking news out of Mexico. A powerful earthquake has just hit that country. We've got a live report on that next.
It's remarkable how these natural catastrophes are just coming closer and closer together, more and more so, and people obviously are not
Numbers we're getting
are not paying attention towards just exactly what's going on, and I guess they're using the scenario. The scenario such as, well, it can't happen again for sure. God, it ain't going to happen again that bad or that strong or whatever. And the sad thing about it is some of these low-lying areas like that, it is going to happen again. I'm surprised that Chile, it didn't do a lot of damage over in Chile, and they may have sustained some damage right there. But God showed me whenever this come on, picture the planet Earth as being a rubber ball. Okay, this metaphorically speaking here. I'm basically speaking to people that has a creative mind here. But picture the planet Earth as being a rubber ball, and all of a sudden you puncture the ball and it starts releasing the air. As the ball is getting smaller, it starts crinkling. As it starts crinkling, it starts deforming. If you really get to looking at our planet, it's very, very, it's very, very delicate.
Hey, Guad, fill us in. Give us that.
Pertaining to, we live on an outer layer of skin, kind of like an apple skin or an orange skin. Okay, we live on a very, very thin layer of skin pertaining to the outer layers of Earth, and up underneath the Earth, as we're draining out the resources, as we're using up the resources, even gas, natural gas, or whatever petroleum that we're pulling out of the Earth, we're draining, we're displacing the Earth the same way as if we was displacing a rubber ball filled full of air, and all of a sudden we're starting to release the air. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If we did not have the volcanoes that we have right now, that's wreaking havoc in, I think, several different areas. I never forget how many exactly it is. Somebody said it was something like 50 or 60 active volcanoes. Of course, a lot of those are under the ground. I mean, under the water right now. But if we didn't have those volcanoes, the Earth would basically explode. It would explode. But what we're actually doing to the planet, we're imploding the planet the same way as imploding a rubber ball. As the Earth is imploding, it's causing pressure and friction, and different plates are moving, and we got different things going on our planet that is now affecting the skin or the outer layers of our planet more so than what it ever has. More so than what it ever has. Because we are constantly doing things, digging, pawing. I mean, if you get to looking at some of the construction projects going on all over the world, it would absolutely amaze you towards how much dirt, how much real estate, how much property is either being moved or transferred from one area to another area. And it's just unbelievable. We're almost like a bunch of ants that has infestated a great part of the planet. And in our infestation of ants, we're also using up a great deal of energy, a great deal of resources. And we're displacing weight distributions in areas that has never had that many people on that particular area or on that particular peninsula that now does. In addition to what we're doing towards draining the resources out of the ground, that is causing that ball to shrink, that is causing that planet to shrink. And I'm pretty sure if there was a way that some of our NASA and other outer space devices could measure the Earth in the size of it today in comparison to where it was 100 years ago, I'm pretty sure that our Earth is shrinking because we are using up various supplies either on the Earth or in the Earth. In addition to the way that we're a bunch of ants moving, stacking, packing, digging holes, we're adding over here, we're taking away over here. We're basically reforming the skin, the outer skin of the Earth. We're reforming it. And like I said, it's very, very sensitive. We live on a skin of Earth that is so sensitive to the degree that these massive events, regardless whether it be hurricanes or earthquakes, or in areas it's entirely too dry, or in areas that are getting these deluges, we are messing with the normalization of this planet. And if we do not awaken to what we are doing, we may end up finding ourselves going beyond the point of repair to the point that we will be looking at nothing but doom and gloom in regards towards all these massive events now that is inundating our planet. And if it ain't inundating our planet in one way, it's inundating our planet in another way. I mean, you keep in mind that peninsula that you're looking at right there, I think within the past 24 hours, they had another hurricane that come off of that peninsula. It may have been a week or so, but it come off of that peninsula and almost scraped the edge of that peninsula. And I know for a fact that there was another one that built over there about a week ago or 2 weeks ago that caused massive mudslides in the southern part of California of the areas that has been burnt so bad because you got no root foliage to help hold the mountainsides together. And of course, whenever you have these deluges come down, you just go from one extreme to another. So we're going to have to awaken. We're going to have to have a sense of reality pertaining to common sense towards what we're actually doing to ourselves and what we're doing to the planet. And if we don't, these events that we're looking at are strongly going to only intensify, just as Christ talked about, flee into the mountains, get out of the low-lying ranges, because who knows what's going to happen. I feel so sorry for those people on all those islands that's down below Florida. I mean, you got, I guess, 1,000 different islands down there, and I just feel so sorry for them because they're basically stranded. They didn't have no say-so in where they was born, when they was born. They're basically, you know, some people say, oh, I would love to live here. I would love to live. Would you really? Would you really love to live in a hut? Would you really love to live where you take a chance on in the summertime? You always got to worry about hurricanes coming out of the east there towards basically either flooding you or blowing you away. Would you really like to live in those areas? I'm going to end this by saying it was a very honorable thing of videoing the police force that was honoring those who used to be police officers the way that they do. I think we need more of that here in our country. God bless America. God bless our endeavors. God bless our troops. And good luck to all of us. And shalom.